Hello, you're watching Startup Booster, an online guide to help you create and develop a successful startup. This video course was created by InMind, global platform for startups and investors. InMind connects professionals in the sphere of innovations, help startups to find investors, mentors, and experts, provides with instruments and resources for growth and development, supports investors with expertise and due diligence. My name is Julia Barashkovska, and I'm from InMind marketing team. And our guest today is Arnaud Salomon, a FinTech visionary and CEO of Smex World, a full reserve bank on blockchain that will not gamble with our money and will never have liquidity problems.
Hello.
Hello, Arnaud.
Hello, Julia. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And you?
Yeah, very well, very well. Thank you for the invitation, actually. Just a brief word about me, and just would like to say that we are in the process of renaming the entire bank right now. So we will make an announcement very soon in the coming week, actually. So I'll keep it secret for now. So I'm Arnaud Salomon. I'm the CEO of Smex, as you said, and my background basically is engineering. I studied communication systems at EPFL here in Switzerland, so that's the Polytechnic School. And I always worked in finance as a commodity and FX trader. A few years ago, in 2012, I discovered Bitcoin. And to be really honest, it changed my life in every sense of the word. This is when I decided to quit my job and to launch this venture. It took me, of course, a bit of more time before the decision was made, really, but actually, deep inside, that was the moment of the change for me.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, let's start with our questions. So, Christine Lagarde, the managing director of the International Monetary Fund, has stated in her now very much cited talk at the Bank of England conference that the blockchain technology and cryptocurrency can replace national monies, conventional financial intermediation, and even puts a question mark on the fractional banking model we know today. Do you agree with this?
Potentially, yes. Actually, yes, indeed. But what you have to understand is the current system we live in. I mean, this is not. This is pretty new. If you look at the scale of humanity, for 2,000 years we've used commodities as a way to transact, and also, very importantly, to save money. Because money is two things, right? So money is about, of course, a mean of exchange, but it's also a way to make savings in order to make bigger payment later, in order to save for in case of, etc., etc. So you really want money to keep its value over time. This is important for the second purpose. And what you have to understand is that the system we live in today is where deposits are made from credit, not the other way around. So about 90%, more than 90% of the deposit, of all the deposits today, are coming from the credit. So the entire monetary system today, since '71, since the very famous Nixon talk on the TV show where he said that he would stop the convertibility of dollar into gold, we live in a very experimental system where credit is expanding. And I mean, at some point we saw what happened, but bubbles and burst, and 2007 was the exact moment where basically everything started. 2008, and Bitcoin was born, and then things started to change. Yeah, and of course, at the end, you have to see that governments, they do not want really to lose this control, because for them it's easier to have inflation, to pay for taxes, etc. It's a way to raise more tax. So I don't think that it will ever disappear. Unless we have a very big event. But right now, I see people that are more willing to trade, I would say, more security for more liberty for the sake of security. And I believe it is the bad time right now for those things. So no, I don't think it will ever happen. But we will have communities popping up and starting to challenge the status quo. And slowly but surely, more and more people will embrace the change. But it will not. I don't think it will ever happen from the top.
I see. Well, you see, virtual currencies provide their own payment systems, and these systems allow for peer-to-peer transactions without central clearinghouses, without central banks. So maybe this is one of the things that make people be, so optimistic about virtual currencies. And what, according to you, these could be these consequences for the new banking system for ordinary businesses and people like you and me?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. Bitcoin is a paradigm shift. It has a true philosophy behind it. It's not only about the magic of the tech, but it's also about the philosophy and the community behind it. And really, today, it's I would say it's amazing. The possibilities are endless. We're still in a kind of a very young phase of it, meaning that it's still a bit geeky to use and sometimes to understand. There is a lot of words that, in the community, we love acronyms, and for the general public, it makes it difficult to understand somehow how to secure your keys, etc. So people now, you see, they are turning into what they call banks because they want to participate in this thing, but they don't know how, and they do not trust those dodgy platforms, etc., etc. Yeah.
Okay, I see. Well, a couple of weeks ago, some people wanted to pay me via PayPal, and it took me 2 weeks. And actually, I called to the PayPal office here to clear all identity issues and actually get the money on my account. And I wasn't either happy with their exchange rate. Virtual currencies potentially offer the same cost and convenience as cash. No settlement risk, no clearing delays, no central registration, no intermediary to check accounts and identities. When do you think this will become our everyday reality?
Ooh, everyday reality. Well, it is already the everyday reality of a lot of people. I mean, Bitcoin is the magic of Bitcoin, for example, is not only about the transactional aspects, but it's also a store of value. And if you trust the math, if you trust the cryptography behind it, you know that there will never be more than 21 million Bitcoins ever produced. And this is safe. This is something where you can truly believe that, well, it's not only about belief, but it's there. And I think this is the very important aspect of the cryptocurrencies today, is when you look at the fiat currencies and the debasement they occur every day, this is where we should emphasize, because if you look back, for example, in Switzerland, when we introduced the, we call it AVS, like the pension fund when you're old. It's a minimum to survive, yeah? When it was introduced right after the Second World War, it was only 75 francs per month. But yet, at that time, you could pay a very small studio apartment and eat pastas every day. And today, basically what we see is that AVS is about 2,000, 2,500, and it allows you strictly the same, pays a very small studio apartment and eat pastas every day. In the middle, this is inflation, right? So look, if your grandma would have hidden some cash under the mattress, not even cash or even coins, because today this is the same coins that, some coins are older than that, right? So we just keep on producing more and more money, but it's not in the form of coins, obviously. It's in the form of credit. And today, people are losing this idea that money is not only a medium of exchange, but it's also a store of value. And this is very important, I think, to emphasize on.
Okay, I see. Well, you mentioned that our economy, in a way, is driven by credits. And as the first cryptocurrency bank, do you plan to invest in fiat currencies, or will you stay crypto only?
So let me tell you what we do, because per se, we will not invest. So we're three things. Our bank is three things, three major points to note. First of all, it's full reserve. Secondly, marketplace. And thirdly, tokenized. So what you have to understand is that full reserve, basically everybody understands. What we intend with this is that we say we will be a custodian bank where your deposit remain in full with us. Yeah. So we will never loan out your fund to someone else. And if 100% of the people wants to get back their money at the same time, we can deliver it. And that's very important. Yeah. So we want to stay in business forever. We want to guarantee the people that whenever they deposit money with us, they can withdraw it whenever they want. And next time, and even if next time the shit hit the fan, like in 2007, and I guess it will be a lot more painful than it used to be. At that time, we will be the only bank standing up there, being able to give people's money back. And that is very important to note. Second point is marketplace. Because of course, if we're just a custodian bank and we refuse this privilege to ourselves to loan out your money and to even expand the balance sheet with a loan directly to the SNB, if we refuse such privilege, how we will make money? You know, commercial banks are credit-based. Well, we will be commission-based, and we will offer marketplaces for each and every banking services. And of course, I can give you a few examples. For example, currency exchange. Today, if you want to send money to someone abroad, and it requires to exchange the money, what will happen is that you will say, yeah, I want to send $1,000 to the US. And then you don't know how much Swiss franc you're going to pay for that up until the wire is gone, right?
Exactly.
On our side, what we want to change is this paradigm. So we offer a marketplace for currency exchange where people can exchange current opposite needs, yeah, and therefore they can bypass the middleman, they can bypass the spread, they can redefine the best price by matching opposite needs. We take a small chunk here. So the idea is that we take a commission on the one that wants instant execution, and the one that is offering the currency exchange on the marketplace get it for free, fully for free. And that's really the idea. And then if you talk about loans, for example, you don't care if your loan is provided by Bank of America or Lending Club. What you care is that you get all your criteria are matched and you get the best deal out of it. And on our side, we've developed robots that are able through API to connect to those liquidity providers such as BNP Paribas right now and some others actually. And we're able actually to connect to some other fintechs and also so that we can list on the marketplace those offers. But at the end of the day, if you're not happy with whatever you've been proposed, you can propose something yourself and let the crowd subscribe to it, or anyone, right? And that's the same principle that applies also on the currency exchange. So we have a robot that is able to basically buy back-to-back with the same broker as TransferWise, already offer the very same type of bid-ask spread than TransferWise, but at the same time, it's free for everyone to propose better and match between themselves. So the chicken and egg problem is always solved, but we always want to organize a community around exchanging opposite needs. And then it leads me to the third point, which is tokenized. And this is the most important point, I would say. We have the ambition to tokenize the entire bank. Of course, we start with the currencies because this is the traditional use case for cryptos, for a blockchain, etc. We use the Ethereum blockchain and we issue ERC20s tokens in the form of euro, dollar, etc., where we are the custodian. So every time you deposit 1,000 Swiss franc with us, we will issue 1,000 Swiss franc on chain. Yeah, but it is a wallet we control, and we control fully this wallet. So the reserve of the bank is fully public and known, but you don't know who has what within this. Now, when you're about to make a payment, you will be able to choose whether you want to have the legacy route, right? So SWIFT, SEPA, ACH, and therefore we will redeem this same amount on chain and trigger the wire to another bank. Or you can choose to enter an Ethereum wallet, and therefore the coin will move from our wallet to someone else's wallet. Of course, there we have a problem of compliance, and therefore we solved it with a compliance oracle. So we know it's not something super sexy appealing because the money cannot freely move around like Bitcoin. But at the same time, what we try to build is a bridge between the old and the new world. So we have to comply with all the compliance rules in order to stay in business forever. And we are working very closely, actually, with one of the big four and with the FINMA and the regulator that we are engaging discussions with them on how we are going to settle this, to set up this whole thing so that we agree that this works for everyone. And this compliance oracle here is basically only whitelisting addresses, so attaching KYCs to each and every address that can move money around on the network, and also making sure that people have limits on top of it. So this is one of the use cases, but then you can also look at loans. Loans are also, it's a contract. So it can be also a smart contract. And the idea here that is really great behind tokenizing the loan is that if your loan is provided by, let's say, UBS, yeah, and UBS sells it to Credit Suisse, they need to make the circle, right? Because you keep on paying back your interest to UBS. And then if they securitize it and they put it in asset-backed security or something like this, then it's even worse to track. Now, if you have a token, you don't care who is the owner. Your contractual relationship is with the smart contract itself, not with the owner of the smart contract. So the owner can change, of course, but it can even be the crowd. And that's the beauty of having tokenized the loan. So that's our ambition, and that's how we're gonna go forward with our bank.
Well, I see. Just one minor question. You know, there are, well, here in Russia, there are, I think now 3 banks that are kind of interested and even more in blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies and tokens, etc. And Sberbank CIB, it's a Russian state bank subsidiary operating in Switzerland, already offers its clients to open crypto accounts and perform operations in Bitcoins. So could you just maybe stress once again, in what way your bank is going to be different from standard banks offering crypto services as part of their standard package?
Yeah, I mean, we're absolutely not competitors here, and actually from Geneva here, we're helping actually banks to have a crypto offering, to offer certificates based on Bitcoins, and we help them actually putting a plan, a strategic plan on how they're going to store those things, and the strategy for cold wallet, warm wallet, hot wallets, how to make multi-sig and how to make disaster plan, etc., etc. So we're absolutely not in competition with them because the way we look at things is totally different. We are implementing a real tokenization strategy of the bank itself. And again, some people offer Bitcoins, Ether, etc., in the form of certificates. This is what most banks are doing. Some will maybe at some point offer the real ownership of the coin, meaning that you could potentially withdraw it, which is not the case actually in any bank I know that have that kind of offerings. If you take, for example, Swissquote today, Swissquote is just a trading thing. I don't think they do even the custody of their own coins. So if you look at Vontobel, they do the custody themselves, but in the end, you cannot withdraw the coin yourself. What we will offer is the real possibility for people to own their own coins. So of course, we'll organize the security if they do not want to take care of that. That means that we will have bank grade level of security for those Bitcoins with us, Ether also. We will not go that much into the altcoin scene right now because we believe it at a level of complexity that some others are solving already pretty well. And I think of Shapeshift. Shapeshift is a super great tool to go for the altcoin world. But at least on the Ether and Bitcoin, we want to offer them. But the idea behind us is that we're not gonna, it's not the main focus here. Our main focus is really on offering fiat currencies on chain. It's to offer traditional banking services in the form of marketplace and that are tokenized. And we want to offer also the security of a very new type of bank, a custodian bank only, as a very new type of bank that refuses itself this privilege of printing money. Yeah, so it's very important because here we want to ensure people that we will stay in business forever. And we're not going to gamble with people's money. We're not going to go on the market with that. We're not going to loan it out whatsoever. Your money remains your money no matter what.
Mm-hmm. So you see, I'm just an ordinary person and I may have some savings. And when I go to a bank, the idea that runs through my mind is only that of safety. Will my money be safe in, I don't know, 5-year time or 10-year time? And I have a question here. You know, with recent developments from China, for example, and with all the news that we get here in Russia every day, meaning that today cryptocurrency is something good and tomorrow it will be something bad. So you see, with all these gaps in legislation, and I think in most of the countries, you know, cryptocurrencies are seen as a rather risky enterprise. So what can you say to remove these doubts?
Well, it is a very risky area. I mean, volatility is huge. Bitcoin can swing, I don't know, 20% easily up and down in the same day. Of course, it's not today the best payment system in this regard, because if you look at the price only, yes, you take risk if you do not have some kind of instrument behind in order to hedge immediately yourself in the currency you are using in your everyday life. To pay your employees or whatever. Of course, it makes things a lot more difficult. But again, this is very early. Things will stabilize over time. I don't think countries or will try to forbid it. It's impossible anyway, and they will lose in the end, and they will lose the face. They know it. So I think there will be more on the attempt to regulate it. And of course, they cannot regulate it, so they will regulate the intermediary, right? So the one that makes the bridge between the old and the new world. And we don't see that as a bad thing, actually, because there is space for everyone. All those pirates guys, it used to be really cool early back then, and I truly believe that there still have a lot of space for them. But today, we need also to have the proper regulated way. We need also to have the coin that will remain always white and that cannot be tainted by some usage on the dark net or some usage for criminal activities whatsoever. This is required. This is required for people to believe that in the long term their money will be safe and that no one could come and confiscate it. So of course, when you talk about fiat currencies, you need a central deposit for it. Yeah, so it's today you will need a bank, a custodian bank for that. It's not like Bitcoin. And of course, I'm totally in love with Bitcoin, and I believe that it could potentially become the currency of the world. But I have no crystal ball. But that day, I would say that day we wouldn't see the volatility anymore because everybody would be using the same metric all the time. Huh? Today we use a metric that is, of course, a bit different, so it makes perspective slightly different.
Okay, I see. Well, I can't wait, for everything that you have shared with us to become more real, even here for customers from, let's say, Russia, for example. So. Arnaud, thank you for being here with us today, and thank you for sharing your opinion on the future of banking and on the future of blockchain and on the potential that there is in the blockchain technology for the banking system.
Thank you.
Okay, and thank you everyone for watching us. This is inmind.com. Thank you.